Greetings, everyone. I hope you are all doing most well in this world. We are going to be covering, I think, a little bit of new ground here. I could maybe loosely call it the Evergreen Connection between the LA fires and Evergreen. What is this weird connection that appeared? And first of all, we'll start with the billionaires who own your water. And it's funny because it came up in Snopes as saying that's not true. And I laughed because Snopes is basically one woman who lives north of here in Tacoma. It used to be she and her husband. So I think the whole idea of Snopes was funny. But this is a good, I'll put a link to it below so you can kind of get an overview of this couple. And it would be interesting to see the film Chinatown again. I think that was about the water wars of way back when. But I found that the players are rather hidden. There are gag orders actually about what can be spoken about, these sort of California gag orders, because there was a meeting held, very much like if you're into the whole Federal Reserve history, the secretive Jekyll Island meetings that took place to create the Federal Reserve, which is not related to the government at all. It's just called federal. So these are speakers. This is not all of the signers of or who were on this document that I saw that was done in Monterey, California, at a secret meeting. But one of the names, William Phillimore, I had seen. So it was quite interesting to kind of find, this is not him, this is the speaker. So he's going to be one of the people on this panel. And I did look up some other info on him. We might have some more pics. Which one is he? Probably that one. And what is rather, and the guy speaking is from like Stanford or something. So there's someone from the Brookings Institute, and then this guy. So here they are in this kind of weird sort of talking about water conservation and are we pricing water at its true value? And that is really funny when you're hearing them speak academically about the true value of water when essentially they've stolen it, right? And everyone's like, thirsty for water. And, one, small group of people own the ocean. And, a teaspoon of water could be, worth $1 million, right? If you're completely out in the desert and you haven't had any water, they could sell you that water for, what is its true value, So it's creepy looking at this. It was made in 2015, and it's very creepy watching it in retrospect, and just like certain lines that come up. So I'll put that link in too, because it's just kind of, I don't want to just sort of play the whole thing, but I don't want to take anything out of context. It's not very long. It's only a couple minutes, and it's rather telling, that, here they are just having these little academic thoughts. And I went back to Fleischman Hillard, and I don't know if you've been watching my vids as of recently. We'll get into the Fleischmann-Hillard connection. Sorry if I'm going a little bit backwards or forwards. It's a public relations firm. Don't you love those PR firms? Public relations firm that was involved in a billing dispute with the Los Angeles Department of Water. And the firm settled the lawsuit. The former head of Fleischmann's LA office was sentenced to prison for overbilling. I don't know. Wow. Okay, the acting general manager. So it there's a lot of shenanigans, shall we say, going on here. And, we're just sort of seeing the, kind of the superficial part of it. I think I remember reading it, when I was in that class, right, where we were supposed to read the ethics book by the woman. And no one talked about this part, of course. And I wasn't even really talking about this. It was more the Monsanto case that I found, where Fleischmann-Hillard was accused of hiring people to literally gang stalk, right? We all hear about gang stalking victims and think, they're nuts and, whatever. And then you find out, no, Fleischmann-Hillard was doing that to people who were victims of Monsanto, or who were journalists, writing about it, or scientists concerned about it. But I think there was something weird about that Fleischmann. They weren't just kind of like stealing it, but they were like the top person was friends with the top water people, and so they would overbill, but then give like half of it back to people that worked in the water department or something like that. It was more a relationship. It wasn't like, oh, they just overcharged. It was this, deep, weird relationship that was going on. And but once again, it's LA fires came because of problems with water, among other things. And here we see Fleischmann-Hillard also getting in on the whole water issue in LA. And this is Beverly Schwartz, who wrote a book called Ripples. And it was what was part of our reading material. We were told it was the Bible. Our teacher held it to her bosom and said this book, Ripples, is the Bible of, and it's won like I don't know, has it won awards? I mean, sometimes they pat themselves on their back, like Stanford is saying, how great it is or whatever. But let's see. Ripples. How do we get to it? Author of Rippling, VP Global Marketing at, yep, you've got it, Fleischmann. Okay, so, she built this she's an entrepreneurial behavioral scientist, social entrepreneur. So that's in Worth magazine, and she's like this big deal of social entrepreneurship. Wave of global this and all of that. So there she is again. So I just found that to be rather interesting. The cover of her book looks like that. It's just got this water, again, this precious commodity. Her book Ripples, which I think is about just different people's stories. I was a little too disgusted to read it. I'm in ceramics class at the Evergreen State College right now, which is far less word salady, shall we say. I'm just able to be hands-on at the moment. But I spoke with a nice student next to me and asked him what class had he been in before. And he said I said, I was in the fake news class. It's a class that examines fake news. And I found that to be completely hilarious. So if you want, you can take a course at Evergreen called Science Gone Viral, Fact and Propaganda in the Digital Age, and the class examines fake news. So going to Evergreen for your real news there. You know, again, it's the MK Ultra School. I haven't even talked to you about the book, The Experiment at Evergreen, that I've had here and you've seen a bit. And they don't sell it at the college anymore. It was very hard to get from the library, and I want to bring it up. I just, not today, I'm too tired, but they actually told me to keep my copy. They're actually getting, you know, because the book kind of is tongue-in-cheek, you know, it kind of lets you know what the experiment at Evergreen is, right? Experiment at Evergreen. So the water barons are powerful individuals, right? And here they are, some of them. But they do have this weird gag order. They own the wonderful company, pistachios, halo oranges. And they had a secret meeting in '94. And this is the California Water Impact Network. So, you know, no matter what Snopes says, right? Yeah, Snopes is it's funny, they call her the cat lady, and I love cats, so I guess I'm a cat lady too, but it's funny. So here is where they were like diverting water, and they met at a resort. I'm not sure which one. I looked up a bunch of resorts. I don't know what's new or not, but there's horse riding resorts there, and there are golfing resorts there, and there are being on the water resorts there, and they're all highly rated and like $1,500 a night and that kind of thing. So that's kind of where they met. And oh yeah, then here's that Bill Fillmore guy again. And it's interesting because he's here, he's in this, how this billionaire couple stole. And there's a lot of articles like that. But then at the UC Davis School of Law, he's, you know, lauded as, you know, he's, you know, part of the sustainable, you know, which is a word they love to throw around, right? And Delta, you know, reliability, and part of all this stuff. So there we see it. Oh, that Kern Water Bank Authority. I remember that Kern was like a bad thing. So there we go. Anyway, much love, and I don't know if anyone is going to try to book a room at the Sanctuary Beach Resort and go and just sort of zen out in Monterey. Yep, that's what they're doing while it all